Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Major Keyz podcast, talking to keyboard players about music and life, or life and music and everything in between. Today we have a special guest, my homie, Isaiah Hill. How go things, bro?
Things go. Things are going good too.
Man, just good.
Things are going. I talk to my dad sometimes. He asks me how I'm doing. He says like, don't use the word good. You should like expound upon like what you actually. Because we always say good.
Yeah, and then good don't always mean good.
You know.
But good, but not necessarily in the. I am recording. Yeah, but not necessarily in the bad way. Good can mean great as well.
True.
So.
It depends on who you are. But so things are picking up for me. Honestly, things were slow. I feel like around this time for musicians, like really between like Thanksgiving and like New Year's, things just kind of slow down for work for most musicians. So things are starting to pick back up, and I'm starting to get more busy. So things are.
I've heard that like, or in my experience, is like Thanksgiving to New Year's Eve or like New Year's Day is like the busiest, and then it slows down. Like in January, it's just like hard stop.
Oh, in January for sure.
Because like, because December was like packed.
Yeah.
For me,
but it depends on like if you do like those holiday functions and like those corporate functions and like especially like New Year's Eve. I took off New Year's Eve. I was like, I can't this year. I can't. I had a couple offers and I'm sure I sent some people.
Like, I'm sure I sent people your way because they're like, I was like, hey, I got Isaiah Hill and then like a few other people, but I'm like, because I got booked for New Year's Eve like in September.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, okay,
and I'm scared to take those early New Year's Eve calls too. Like, what if something better comes up?
But that was. I feel like that was as good as that. That one was as good as it was gonna get.
Oh, okay,
I was like, okay, well, let me not mess this up.
It's not gonna be. Okay, I got you. I feel you.
Because I had some other ones, and I was like, no, it wasn't worth giving up that one.
I feel you.
So that one was as good as we were gonna get.
I feel it.
But yeah, man, Isaiah Hill, keyboard player. So what got you started playing, or like start from the beginning? Like, were you in a musical family? You took lessons. You wanted to play. Like, how did all that go?
So from the very beginning, didn't come from a musical family at all. I'm the first musician in my family, and I always envied those that came from those musical backgrounds.
Yeah,
like when they're like, oh yeah, my dad was a piano player. My mom was singing in the choir. Like I always wanted that story, but parents were just, and my mom was always in the apartment field. My dad is an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
He does nonprofit stuff. So they've always done that for as long as I can remember. What got me started with music, though, I love telling this story because it's just funny to me. Mm-hmm. My granddad, and I had to have been I was maybe six years old. My granddad bought me a bike for Christmas and bought my sister a keyboard, like a small little Casio keyboard for Christmas.
Yeah.
And my sister's maybe 2-3 years older than me, maybe 3. And
you should know that, but whatever.
Let's go with 3. Shout out to you, Janae. She's 3 years older than me, and then I guess there's a natural like sibling thing. We were like, oh no, you got the better gift, so I want your gift. I was like, nah, that keyboard is the better one. And she was like, nah, that bike. Let me get that bike. So
so y'all just switched.
We just switched.
Wow.
We literally just switched gifts like that day, and then yeah, man, it was one of those keyboards where you can like hit a button and it plays, Mary Had a Little Lamb and Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So I would like hit one of those buttons and like listen to the songs and just try to play it and match what I heard.
Yeah.
So it goes to show I started playing by ear. Then that progressed to listening to songs on the radio. Because around that time, I don't know if you remember, bro, but like I feel like the time that we were coming up as piano players was like the best time because every song on the radio had like a dope piano part to it. You know what I mean? Like around Halo, Beyonce, like Unfaithful, Rihanna. What's that Justin Timberlake song? Dead and Gone. Remember that joint? Like there were so many songs like in the early 2000s where like pop music was literally just dope
piano
based. So like it was a perfect time for me. I would just listen to the radio and played those songs in middle school, into high school, did a couple talent shows, I was always on some like, what's your favorite song? I bet I could play it.
Man,
You know what I mean? And lo and behold, like, I was
This guy.
able to play it, because just because of when I was young, like I was picking up on stuff like super fast. So I would listen to a song once, maybe twice if it's kind of more challenging, but I'll be able to play it.
got you. So you didn't go like, did you have a teacher? Did you have an instructor?
I had, honestly, like my dad tried to put me in lessons to kind of cultivate it and to, just give me that extra motivation, I guess. But I was so like just internally motivated. I was like, I just want to be a really good piano player. So I feel like, so I had 2 teachers, and this is going to sound whatever, but like they low key couldn't teach me much.
Hey man, I mean, like
At
if
the time.
you got it, bro. But that's
Like it was crazy.
so it's just like I don't know,
really
I don't
crazy.
know what to do
Because I let them know like I wasn't interested in like reading music because I wasn't reading, but I let them know like I just want to be proficient at like playing. I just want to be like a dope player.
Yeah,
And yeah, man. Like I mean, maybe it was they weren't the right teachers, but I had like 2 that they just didn't work out.
got you.
And then I got into church later. I don't have that. I mean, my dad was a pastor, but he wasn't like the pastor of a church. He was like an associate pastor of a church, so he would preach.
He was
every
on the
once in a while.
staff.
Yeah, he was up there.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was on the pulpit for sure.
Got you.
He
Like
preached every once in a
every
while.
couple of months, hey, you're in.
You know what I mean?
You're in. Yeah.
And he did a lot of work with the youth ministry too. So that was his kind of niche. But I got into playing at church kind of later in life, maybe high school, like getting into college.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that really kind of propelled my playing too, like learning gospel. Because before then, it was like all like pop, R&B, whatever the stuff on the radio was. And then high school, jazz band, so like straight ahead jazz, really
Okay.
big band stuff too, like all the Count Basie stuff.
Yeah.
I learned how to read charts in high school.
I was like, bro, you gotta know how to read that.
No,
that
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
and that wasn't fun. that joint wasn't fun, but it was needed. And then when I got the gospel stuff, like I felt like I was pretty well rounded between those couple things.
Did anyone help you on the gospel stuff, or you just kind of, or it was more so?
I had a few people. I had this, shout out to Murph. He used to play at this church in Lithonia called Stronghold. I'm not sure where he is now, but he's the first one to put me on. He didn't really sit down with me and show me stuff. He really recommended me a lot of stuff.
Oh,
He's the first one that showed me Gretchen Parlato Week.
Ooh, yeah.
And bro, literally like that song changed the game for me. Because prior to then, I thought jazz, I've never heard jazz that way.
Yeah.
I've always heard the straight ahead stuff, the big band stuff.
Okay.
Didn't know who Robert Glasper was, D. Hodge, like I didn't know about that whole other area of jazz. When I heard that, I was like, bro, what the heck is this?
That's interesting because like growing up, my grandparents was play like smooth jazz, like easy, like I don't know if you consider Joe Sample that, but Brian Culbertson was a real big one for me. So like I didn't know. So like and then I found out about like Glasper and Corey and Snarky Puppy and all those people. But then when I got to school, they were like, you got to learn about Oscar Peterson and McCoy Tyner and all those sort of people. Because like I didn't know. Yeah. Because I didn't know them before going to school. I mean, like I knew like Miles. I knew a couple of people, but it that vocabulary wasn't good. I knew easy listening, and I knew like the avant-garde sort of vibe.
Two ends of the totally different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. But like the basis, I didn't know it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like school kind of has to teach you that. They have to be like, these are the forefathers of jazz.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for Berkeley for teaching me that. Like there was a whole class about, if I'm not mistaken, it was like, the history of like jazz piano players, and they, had like a bunch of slides about Oscar Peterson, Art Tatum, and McCoy Tyner and all them. And it was dope, like seeing like what they did for jazz. You know what I mean? Because I knew about them, but like I really dove deep into them and like their vocabulary and like how they played their style, like what they did for bebop, like the bebop era, this era, that era. Like I didn't know jazz was that deep until I went to school.
Bro,
jazz is very
it's
nuanced.
Deep.
Bro.
I still don't have it.
It's a lot, bro.
But so when did you decide? Like, I mean, like, yeah, you were good and like, yeah, this is what I like to do. When did you decide this is what I'm doing? Like, this is what I want to do, like for life and stuff like that.
I don't even.
Or maybe do you want to do it for life? But like when you wanted to seriously like pursue it, like go to school for it and like make that your living.
Oh yeah, so I wanted to go to Berkeley in my junior year in high school. So
Okay.
So yeah, 10th grade, I was like, I want to go to a music school.
Mhm.
Berkeley was one of them. It was between Berkeley, New School for Music, and Manhattan School of Music.
Mhm.
Those are kind of the big three as far as like. There's other ones too. I did apply to Miami School of Music.
Okay.
Frost, that whole thing. Because I would see videos and they were just blazing. I was like, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
So I went and auditioned for all three of those schools: Manhattan, New School, and Berkeley. And Berkeley came through with the full ride.
Hey.
Shout out to City Music.
Right. You
Shout
did
out to
do
City
the
Music, man. If it wasn't for them, yeah, it would have been slow.
Right. it would have been
slow.
Yeah.
So
but you went to Berkeley and then you didn't go to Berkeley.
yeah.
So you started at Berkeley, and then what happened after?
And then, man,
Because what were you like majoring in, and so like how did that whole
I didn't even get to the major.
how did that whole situation happen?
Bro, I didn't even get to the major, bro. So first semester did that, everything was cool. Second semester is when I got into a corporate band. I got into a wedding band, which is the first time I really started making like real money from music.
Yeah.
Because before then, in high school, I would do gigs around town, but like, I make $100 here, $200 here, but like making like 3, 4, 5 like plus per gig. That was the first time I did it, like in Boston, and I was like, "Word, this is some good money for a college student." So between that, doing gigs, and in Boston, the thing about gigging in that area, the New England area, you go everywhere in New England. You go to Vermont, Connecticut, Maine, Rhode Island. You go to all those places. Each place is kind of like it can be like between 45 to like an hour and a half away. So we would do like corporate gigs, and I would get back to the dorm at 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not going to an 8 o'clock class, 9 o'clock class.
Oh, so these were in the middle of the week?
Sometimes.
Okay.
And sometimes I was just lazy. I wasn't going to class. So between the corporate band, I had a girlfriend at the time. Those two things took up like all of my time, and I wasn't the best at like time management.
Yeah.
So I kind of let school slip through the cracks. So second semester is when I got on academic probation, and they were like,
"Oh, you were down that bad?
Yeah,
you were down bad,
big bad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it got really bad, bro. So they were like, yeah, if you don't reach a certain GPA on your third semester, got to take a scholarship away.
Wow.
So third semester came around. I did a little better, but not as good as
it wasn't
bad.
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't it. So lost my scholarship, but I stayed in Boston one more semester because I signed the contract for the wedding band for the full year.
Oh, okay, got you.
So I couldn't go back home because I had to fulfill my contract for the wedding band. So I stayed up there for another semester just working. And luckily, one of my good friends, he was in my wedding, Mike. Shout out to Mike. He heard that I lost my scholarship and I was looking for a place to stay. And he was like, "Bro, I got a extra room in my crib in Boston if you just want to, kick it for the semester, while you do your contract." And I was like, "Bro, yes."
Yeah.
So, yeah, after that semester, came back home.
Wow.
Packed the bags. Came back home.
Got you. And did you finish a degree or no? So you just
peace.
That's it. That's
Peace.
it.
I mean, when I got down here, I started working. I mean, yeah.
I thought for sure like you went to some other school like for a minute. So that's not your story? Oh man. Okay.
That's not my story.
Hey,
not my story. It's somebody's story.
It's somebody's story out there.
Great story.
I mean, like but every story is your own.
Huh?
And that's I mean, like your story is for you. And my story is mine. And that's and look at us now on the Major Keyz podcast.
Because you graduated.
I did graduate. Yeah, my degree is on the wall. It's not in the frame, but it's there.
Let's go.
It said 100% complete. December 18th, 2019.
Oof.
Right before everything went down.
We made it just in time,
bro. I made it right on time. But yeah, man. But that's what's up, bro. So how would you describe yourself as a musician?
These are the hard-hitting questions, Zach. These are the hard hitting questions. How would I describe myself as a musician? I would describe myself as, man, that's a really good question.
And it doesn't even have to be like super deep, but like actually, because like we didn't really do like a real introduction. So like, what do you like currently do like in music, like the type of stuff that you play, like the other sort of avenues that you do like within music and all that sort of thing.
So because this is the what's the podcast called? What's that?
All right, here we go. So Isaiah Hill was supposed to be the first guest on the Major Keyz podcast.
Major Keyz podcast.
On the Major Keyz podcast. He called me the day of, after I came back from the music store to get these mic stands, and
beautiful stands, by the way. Really nice
beautiful.
What kind of mic is this?
It's
sure?
It's a shirt. It's a shirt. Yeah.
Good choice.
But he was like, bro, I have something way more important to do than be on this. And so,
okay.
He's like, yeah, man, I remember you told me 2 months ago that you want me to be the first guest, but I have something way more important to do. Yeah, that's how
that's how it went. We'll go with that. We'll go with that story. I like that story. That's cool. That's cool. But nah, man. So what was I saying? Man?
Like, what do you do in music? Like, for the people at home that don't know Isaiah Hill.
So what I do in music, I'm a piano player. I play at church. I play different corporate gigs around town. So that's on the performance side. Mm-hmm. I did play with artists like kind of pre-COVID. I toured with a couple artists, which was really dope.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah. So now my primary thing is like producing. I'm way more into like music production now. So I produce for television and film.
Yeah, you might have heard of this music on Catfish. On what was the other? There was another big one. Was it on the Kardashians?
Yeah.
So you know those little clips of music that you hear when something awkward or something funny happens. Someone has to write it. Yeah. Sometimes it's Isaiah Hill.
Sometimes it's me. I wish it was more times, but sometimes it's me.
Tyler Perry.
I was on Bruh and Sisters. Bruh and Sisters.
Bruh and Sisters.
Saying that together.
I know.
like Bruh and Sisters.
Like I know
Sisters too. Not sisters.
Not sisters. That's a sisters. Totally different network. It's a totally different network. It's a totally different concept.
Yeah.
But no. So we're skipping all over the place. So tell me how you kind of no, we're gonna go back. Tour life. So you might have seen him on stage with I don't know, a little artist by the name of Monica, a new local artist by the name of Keith Sweat. You know, so a little, you know,
up and coming.
But yeah, so tell the people about like that experience, like getting into like how is it playing for those big artists? Was it like a super hard transition, or was it easy and just like? So tell me how that went.
So the first main artist I played with was Monica. That was my first big gig. I didn't mean to do this. That's my first big. I don't even know if the camera caught that.
No, they probably caught it.
That's my first big gig I did was Monica, and I was subbing at the time too.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a pretty big learning curve, honestly.
Okay.
It's that coffee. Got my mucus everywhere. First big gig was Monica. And because prior to then, I'm just playing at church. I'm playing at bars and clubs, doing a corporate scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I was familiar with playing like on top of tracks, but that was the first time I've done a gig where like everything was in the box. Everything's in the track.
Right.
I mean, keys, aux, drums, bass, vocals, everything but the lead. I don't even know if I'm supposed to be, but everybody knows that. Like we deal with like those A-list, B-list gigs. Like they have everything. It's
tracked out,
everything
stemmed out. Yeah, the first time that once you're off of the gig, you're like, bro, let me show you these stems, and I'm like, that's track.
That's
I'm
the
like,
whole
bro,
show.
Like, man,
We
that's,
could stop playing
and you'd be fine.
you'd be fine. Yeah.
You'd be fine.
And it's probably for that reason. Like if anything goes wrong, say the keyboard rig goes down, the drummer drops his stick, the show can still go on for those few seconds where you get things back in order. Maybe that's why, or maybe it's just you just want that big sound, or maybe you just want it to sound exactly like the record.
So I'm asking a personal question. Do you like that? Or would you rather it be live, or like would you rather like a combination of it? Like, would you rather? Oh yeah, just put like a couple of things in the stems, keep us on time. Or like, how do you feel? How do you feel about that?
I understand the concept of it. Like and I'm trying to put myself so in the audience's shoes. It makes sense to have the record like in the box. You know what I mean? Because as a keyboard player, it can be hard to make that exact random synthesizer sound that happens in that song. So why not throw it in the box?
And remembering every little thing that, like, you know, Timbaland put, like, oh yeah, remember that little thing? Like it's like to recreate it from scratch.
Yeah. So on that end, it's like, you know, please help out. Put these joints in the box, and I'll play on top of it. But on the other end, it does kind of limit you on what you can do.
Yeah.
You know, you can't really stretch like that, especially on keys. Like, you know, I can put a little passing chord in, but I'm not going to reharm a whole chord.
Right.
Or it's going to clash.
But then also, crazy. Like, the artist doesn't want that either.
Depending on the artist and the MD, most times, they want you to play it like the record. But yeah, it depends though. It depends because you look at, you know, some artists, they want their band to like go for it. Tastefully, of course.
Right.
But I know of a lot of cases where it's like, bro, just play that record.
Man, gotcha.
Don't move from that record, because that's what people are paying for, is to hear the record, not your interpretation of the record, but like the record that they grew up listening to. Because I hear a lot of times people complain about going to concerts and they're like, well, it sounds so different than what I'm used to hearing.
Yeah.
It's because they just doing too much on stage. They try to, or maybe they just got bored of playing that arrangement. And it's usually like the artist's biggest songs too. Yeah. You know what I mean? That they perform night after night, year after year. So they're like, you know what? I want to try something different. Let's like revamp it, redo it. But then when audiences get to the show, it's like, that's cool, but I try to sing along, but it's just kind of weird.
I do wonder how some music sounds to the average, the listener that's not a musician. Yeah. Because I'm there like, this is killing. Yeah. I'm like, this is great. But then someone else would be like, yeah, it's cool, but it ain't. That's not the song that I know.
Yeah. So when I play music, I always, especially on bigger stages, I always try to put myself in their shoes, and it's even better with small stages too. And somebody asked me this a long time ago. They were like, "Do you prefer big stages or small stages?" Mm-hmm. At that time, before I was on the big stages, I was like, "Nah, big stages would be lit. Like I want to like big stages for sure." But now that I've done it, I'd much prefer like the velvet notes. I'd prefer the smaller stages.
To be honest, I mean, like, cause you've been in arenas. I haven't done that yet, but like I've done shows like with a lot of, you know, the sold out Rick Ross show. It was the first Red Bull Symphonic in North America. Sold out with Orchestra Noir. Shout out to them. But is that the biggest thing that I've done? I don't know. I've done a couple of like kind of big things. I feel like if you, whatever room that you're playing in, if you have an audience that's listening, and whoever it is, like, I feel like it's cool. Because 300 people
that's true.
At aisle 5
that's true.
is different than 300 people at Atlanta Symphony Hall. 300 people at aisle 5 is dope. 300 people at Atlanta Symphony Hall is like, where is everyone at? Yeah. So it just, I feel like it just depends. I feel like there's no, I feel like you can't really compare them.
That's true.
But also I think it depends on what you're doing too. Because you know, if you're playing an arena gig, you're playing in the box. If you're playing at Velvet Note, most likely it's a jazz or R&B sort of show, and like you can kind of do you kind of have a little bit more freedom.
Yeah, you can stretch.
So I feel like it's not necessarily the size of the room, but the type of show or the type of gig it is.
The type of gig and like the kind of music you're playing. Because I just like that immediate reaction of like you can play something at a spot like Velvet Note and look at a crowd's reaction and see how they're feeling. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and you can hear the woo like in real time. Like I love that. But when you play on those big stages, it's like you can barely see the people.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like a sea of just dark. I mean, the lights are so bright.
Yeah. No, you can't see
bodies,
anybody in there.
but you can't see anybody's face. So it's like you don't even know if they're really enjoying it. But at the same time, it's like I feel like if you're the artist, I don't know. I was about to say you might not even care, but you probably do care because
I might care.
no, you probably do. Care.
Oh, if you're the artist, you don't care.
If you're the
Oh,
artist,
I was like, I care. That's why I'm here. Yeah, I care.
Yeah,
But yeah, if you're the artist,
yeah.
I don't know, man. That might be the question. Let's see if get Monica on here. I mean, like, yeah, she. Look,
All right, I'll try. Honestly, though, I'll try.
No. It's for Keyz players, but
Okay. I'll teach her keys and then I'll have her come.
All right, but no, that's definitely an interesting perspective because I like when I look at people announce tour dates, I look at the rooms that they're playing. I'm like, is this an arena tour? Is this I don't know what you would consider the Tabernacle. Tabernacle's kind of in the middle.
Theater.
Yeah, theater, club. So I scope. Okay, so this is where they're at as far as reach, and then like this is So I always wondered that sort of.
And arenas are dope though. Like I've done one arena gig. I did Barclays.
Okay.
In New York. That was really dope.
Yeah,
like
this was with Monica or Keith Sweat.
This was with Monica.
Okay.
And a couple other people on the bill. It was actually Keith Sweat was on the bill, but that was before I got the Keith Sweat gig.
Okay.
I think I got the Keith Sweat gig I got the Keith Sweat gig from I think Devontae. He put my name in a hat, and then the MD reached out to me. But Barclays was dope.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, just seeing all those people there, like it was loud.
Mm-hmm.
Like you take your in-ears off and you
it's
just
like,
yeah. I was like, bro, this is crazy. And I'm sure I wonder how that feels as an artist though.
As an artist, it's got to be amazing.
Thousands of people singing your song. What at the top of their that has to be like such a electrifying feeling to feel,
bro. So like I saw Drake and Lil Wayne in 2014, and Lil Wayne was like, he said something, and I was like, wow, I never really thought about it. He was like, to hear y'all say what I wrote in my mind like 10 years ago back to me is like an indescribable like feeling.
That's powerful, man.
So it's like 10,000 plus people,
especially
knowing like, his songs word for word.
Yeah, shoot me, man. The whole Carter 4, I could say that joint verbatim. Yeah, like that's one of them.
I know 6 foot 7 foot. I can do 6 foot 7.
That's the one.
But that's
That's
but
the one.
Anyways, but now that's cool, bro. That's cool. Was there like a defining moment that made you want to be a musician? Like, was it like a video that you saw, or like was it like a record that you heard and it's like that's what I want to do, or like or you just like kind of grew into it?
I just kind of I really feel like the moment was when I played the keyboard when I was 6 years old.
Gotcha.
Like, it was just fun. Like it wasn't just anything but just fun. That's why like I don't even know like when I wanted to be a musician, I just always was just chasing that, just following my passion, like what I love to do. I've always loved playing music.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So I don't even know what the defining moment was. I was just always like, I love playing keys, so I'm about to keep playing keys.
Got you. Tell the story about how your dad used to take you to the hotels.
Oh man,
that's fun. That's a fun story. Yeah.
Shout out to my dad, man. He's a go-getter. Like he's the definition of like don't take no for an answer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he'll kick down some doors if he needs to. And I really, if I can get an inch of that from him, I feel like I have a little bit of that, but he's like on another level. So
supportive parents are the best, man.
Oh my goodness, bro. Like, cause even before that, like my parents were so supportive, bro. Like I went through so many phases. Yeah. I played sports and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
I skateboarded back in the day. So like literally like
how long did that last?
2 years.
Oh wow! So you like did it for? It's not like you, because I saw skateboarding on TV. I had a skateboard.
Oh yeah.
You want to know how long that lasts? I'm sure if you combine the time, it was less than 10 hours. If you combine the time that I spent on that skateboard, it was less than 10 hours.
It looked cool. He was like, I want a skateboard,
bro.
No, I invested time, man. Like, but my parents invested even more. Like they were like, whatever boards you want, we'll get it. Whatever. Like they invested so much into me, so I appreciate them for that. My dad, he had a after school program, and he would basically transport the kids from the school to the after school site.
Yeah.
So he had a van in which he would transport all the kids and make his like rounds, kind of like a school bus, but like a smaller school bus. So on the weekends, he would still have the van. So we would put my keyboard inside the van. I would dress up in a nice tie. He would dress up, look professional, and we would drive to these fancy hotels around town. like the Omni Hotel and like the Four Seasons.
Oh, Four Seasons, bro. I looked at the Four Seasons prices. I was like, how expensive is the Four Seasons? And I looked it up. I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
Hilton, Holiday Inn, Best Western, honestly.
You know what I mean?
Hey, but I'm like,
They
yo.
don't have a bed. Sign me up.
But I'm like, in all seriousness, I'm like, what is so great about it?
It's all Four Seasons, bro.
But
All 4 of them.
all right, every single one. But
yeah, we would go to these hotels, and my dad would pull up and be like, "Yeah, the entertainment is here for the day or for the night." And he wouldn't talk to a super high up. He would talk to like somebody at the desk.
Yeah,
and they'd be like, "Okay, come on, yeah, come in," because no one's going to deny like some entertainment. And back then it was probably a little more chill. Like so much stuff is happening nowadays to where you probably can't do that anymore.
yeah.
But yeah, back then he would just have me out playing, just not even for tips. Like at those places, I didn't even play for tips. I just wanted to play outside of my room. And then we would go like to Underground. Remember Underground?
Remember I didn't live in Atlanta.
Oh, true.
Remember I'm from Perry, but like I do know of Underground. I have visited there when it was a thing.
Yeah,
and then
I feel like is it still open? I don't know if it's still open.
No, you got a couple of venues over there, but it's not what it was.
Isn't that in the Tabernacle? Like in
Masquerade.
That's right. Yeah. Go to Underground, set up shop. We would go little 5 Points. We would he would take me everywhere to just play and get experience. And yeah, that was dope.
Bro, that's interesting. So did you get good tips like while you? There was one time like my dad and I would stay at a hotel. Well, I guess I can name it Embassy Suites. Mm-hmm. But we would stay at Embassy Suites when we would go to concerts, and they had a piano there. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, look at that piano. I was like, all right, cool. So like between when we checked in and like time for like when we were gonna go, I was like, all right, let me try to do a quick hour. Let me see what happens. Quick hour, and like they had the cup that was in the hotel room, and I was like, yeah, let me see what happens. I got like $40 one time. I was like, man, for someone who didn't have a job, I was like,
just for playing, bro.
Man, let's go. So I was like, yeah, let's see what happens. And then they started locking it, and I was like, bro. So they really messed them up because I was like, all right, here we go. Like, okay, we're going to Embassy Suites. All right, here we go.
Let's do it.
Let's try it. Yeah.
But people got to stop doing that though. Like they got to stop locking up pianos. If you have a piano, bro,
like it's meant to be, but it's probably because people that don't play, they just like bang on it and stuff. And that's very much a distraction and a cacophony.
Cacophony
is a good word, bro. I learned that from my from a musician. He's an MD. But but also me and my my other piano teacher, one of my piano teachers, we use that word. So now I'm gonna send that to him. He'll be on here probably
cacophony.
next season. But yeah, cacophony, loud, boisterous, unappealing noise.
Unappealing noise. I'm starting to get into words now. Like I love words. I feel like at this point in my life, and this is so much of a left turn. But
hey, bro, but I'm gonna keep us in the road. It's just a pit stop.
Please,
it's just a pit stop.
Us,
yeah.
Like, I feel like all the rap songs I would listen to back in the day, I'm now going back and listening to the lyrics of it, and like just listening to lyrics in general. Because I feel like as musicians, like sometimes we can be guilty of like just listening to the music, and not listening to the lyrics. But when you have a real like dope lyricist, and you listen to what they say, like it makes you appreciate the song in a whole nother sense. You know what I mean? So I've been getting into like just words and wordplay and
bro, some of them when you listen back, and I'm like, oh,
dude,
like
it's
crazy,
I get it. Like those old Kendrick songs, the old Wayne songs,
Wayne stuff. Yeah,
he would say a line and then later on I would have to pause the stuff and be like, bro, did he really just say that?
Yeah.
But he would have like these double, triple entendres. So like, yeah, when he said cacophony, I was like, that's a really dope word. I like that word.
I appreciate it, man.
I'm gonna try to find a way to put it in my vocabulary.
And whenever something doesn't sound good, it's a cacophony or it's cacophonous.
Bro, if a rapper said cacophonous in a bar, bro, that would be crazy.
Bro, if you have I'm not gonna try to do it, but like cacophonous and like coughing us like oh I'm so sick coughing like there's something there. There's something there. It's in the so y'all can use it. Yeah. Just hit me up. DistroKids, the Splits, BMI. We're good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what was the first concert that you went to?
First concert that I went to Man, was it in high school? Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, bro. It may have been. I used to go to a lot of. Would you count like what's that spot that closed down in Sandy Spring? Cafe 290. Would you count that as a concert? I mean,
I was kind of thinking like national artists. I guess wherever they.
So honestly,
go. Yeah,
college, Snarky Puppy.
That's a good first concert.
Snarky Puppy in the Berkeley Performance Center, and I was
Woo.
so mad because Corey wasn't on stage. They played the first song, half the first song.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't on stage, but I heard rumors about like he's coming in from New York, so he's gonna be.
Oh,
late.
this was that time. I know what you're talking. I know exactly
that
what time
time?
you're talking about. So this was in. This had to be
How
20.
do you know this? You weren't even there, bro. You know everything about concerts, bro. That's crazy.
I'm well versed in stuff. So
Yeah.
you got to. So that week, Snarky Puppy was here in Atlanta. They're at Terminal West like that Tuesday. Corey Henry had his live recording for his album that Friday or Saturday.
Was it the Gotcha?
No, not Got You Now. The revival. One,
Oh, okay.
which was in New York, and I was like, I saw the dates. I was like, bro, are you gonna be at the Atlanta show? Someone tweeted it to him, and he was like, yes, I'm gonna be at the Atlanta show. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
But it was mainly because I just remember following him on Instagram at that time. But he did the live recording, and then there were 2 gigs that Snarky Puppy did in Boston like that weekend. They did a festival, and then they did BPC.
Yep.
And so he was like, I'm headed to Boston to play with Snarky for like, it was one of the last days of the tour.
Oh, okay. How do you? That's crazy. How you remember that? But yeah, that's true. They did the BPC, and then like that weekend was the Beantown Festival. Yeah, they did the festival. But
Snarky Puppy in that era as a first concert is a good first concert.
I cried.
Man, really?
I cried.
You cried like the whole time, or like you cried like during a specific I Lingus, or you just cried?
Lingus.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, because I was like, is he even gonna? He's my favorite board player at the time.
Of course.
Still at this time, he's like definitely in the range.
Yeah.
Like, he's influenced my sound a good bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I wanted him to be there. So when I thought he wasn't gonna be there, I was kind of defeated. But when he pulled up, he had his backpack still on.
Like literally just pulled in. You're like, this is the redemption story.
So that they did the whole show, and then they ended with Lingus, I believe. And yeah, man, just hearing that live, like it was just overwhelming. I just had to let it out.
I think everyone remembers their first time hearing Lingus. That should be like a new question that I put on this thing.
True.
When was the first time you heard Lingus?
Yes, bro.
I think everybody remembers that.
Yeah. And if they haven't, for any reason they live under a rock, like just play it.
I don't think there's any keyboard player, even if they're not Snarky Puppy fans. I don't think there's any keyboard player out there that I know that hasn't heard Lingus. There's the solo that shook the world, something like that. But that was definitely.
When was your first time hearing it?
Bro, I found out about. How did I find out about Snarky Puppy? Because it's a long road how I got there. Mm-hmm. Was it through Shantae Can? It was. So my friend showed me Jazz Specs and Shantae Can, Find Your Way to Love.
Beautiful song.
I looked up. Yeah, sing it, bro.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
Good.
So like
I didn't warm up yet.
It's fine. Yeah. It's 12 o'clock. You warmed up yet?
Yeah, I need my tea.
What's that? Need the tea. Sorry, your writer didn't get to us in time.
I got to work on that. I got to talk to them, but next time.
But no. So I was looking up. So my friend showed me Find Your Way to Love, and so Find My Way to Love.
Find My Way to Love.
Yeah. So I was on. This was 2013, 2014. Had to be 2014 when I found out about Snarky Puppy. But so I was looking up Shantae Can, looking up her videos. You know, she didn't really have albums out and stuff. Yeah. But she had these performances with Corey.
I remember those.
And I was like, this is dope. So I looked up Corey Henry. Corey Henry led me to Snarky Puppy. And so like it's so like, and there were the first 2 Snarky Puppy videos that I saw, they were at the Shapeshifter Lab.
Was it Skate You?
It was Skate You and Flood.
Yeah,
it was Skate You and Flood. So it was Corey, Justin, Tehran. I could tell you the whole lineup. But anyways, so I like started looking up Snarky Puppy, and it took me a minute. I was like, who's band is this? Because every time I looked at them, it was like a different lineup.
True. Yeah.
So I forget exactly when I heard Lingus for the first time, because I had heard it. So I kind of got onto the Snarky Puppy train before We Like It Here came out.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but I remember kind of revisiting Snarky Puppy again, and I was like, I watched it. It was probably some night where I was like in a rabbit hole on YouTube, and I was like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. The first big keyboard solo I saw was like, have you heard of Ryan Culbertson?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He had a live album. He had a live in studio album, and there was this song called "So Good," and he had like this long piano solo at the end, and that was the first like, this is amazing, sort of. Like this is like what like this is what you can do like in music. Like you can do all that in playing piano. That was the first time.
Yeah,
I'll show it to you.
But
it was
Corey kind of solidified.
And then like a few years later, like this is beyond what I can. Yeah. Like this is. So
that's crazy
dope.
that you have like a defining piano solo moment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think mine was like definitely like a Oscar Peterson solo.
Yeah,
like from back in the day, like just hearing what he could do on piano was like wild. Because coming from playing the R&B and the pop stuff,
right.
I'm 1, 5, 6, 4, maybe a little sharp 5 in there if you want to get spicy.
Hey,
man,
to that
if
you
6.
Yeah.
But like hearing Oscar use all 88 keys, like really utilizing the whole keyboard and not just staying like here was crazy. But yeah, I remember the first time I heard Lingus, I was in my room, and it was definitely a long night of rabbit holing, and that sounds so dirty, but it's not dirty. But it was definitely after I heard the whole Ground Up album. But I think Lingus was the first song I heard on the
We Like It Here,
because it had the most is that one? Oh yeah, yep. Because it had the most views on YouTube, so I was like, let me just see what it's about.
Yeah,
and bro. Those chords in the beginning.
Oh man, everyone knows.
Took me to outer space, bro. I was like, how do you even?
I definitely still do, or I try to do. If I know that it's gonna be like a long solo, I start out doing an imitation of that. I'm not gonna say that I do it. No, I do a version of.
I used to do that.
I do a version
because it builds anticipation, and that's a good solo technique. I did it a lot at Berkeley, where I would like. During jam sessions, if I know I'm about to stretch, I'm playing the most simple, not even simple, but I'm just like building that anticipation of like I'm about to go.
And it gives you a minute to think too. It gives you a minute to think of like how you want to go. That solo is such like start out slow, build the idea instead of just starting out like just.
Because if he started the solo,
if he started at the climax, then it would have had nowhere to go.
Exactly. No, he would have found places to go, though. He would have found places to go, but I don't think it would have had the same impact.
Right.
Because when he left the Rhodes and went to the lead, then it gave it another, like, elevation. But if he started at that lead, it would have been like, oh, where's killing? But, like, there was no, like, intro to the story. Right. That whole solo was a whole story.
Man.
And I was here for that ride.
Yeah, bro. They did that they did that solo at the show that I came to too, and I met Lil Jon Roberts at that. It was a great time. Yeah. But anyways, so besides doing production in sync, which I want to still talk to you about, what would be your favorite type of music to play? Like, if you're gonna perform, if you had the choice of doing it, what's your favorite kind of music to play outside?
I feel like anything where I could stretch, like something jazzy, like jazz. Improv based. I don't even want to say jazz, but like just
improv based.
Just vibing, you know what I mean? Like I like playing parts. That's cool, but like something where I can really like stretch. I would say that. I don't even know what genre that'd be, but like that whole Glasper thing, you know what I mean? Like that free like you start off with an idea, but you kind of go somewhere else. Probably that.
Yeah. So tell me how you got into TV scoring and like sync and that sort of thing, and tell people. Well, I mean, like we kind of told them what it is, but how did you get into that vibe, and tell me what? And I want to know your approach to scoring like a part in a TV show versus scoring to like a film or like a short film sort of deal.
Yeah, it's a difference. So at the very beginning, at the inception of it, I always wanted to do like just scoring, like movie scoring, and this started back in Berkeley because I heard they had a film scoring department.
Yeah.
And if I was there, I would have majored in film scoring.
Okay.
Because some of the alumni did some dope stuff, like they did Despicable Me, like crazy films. Berkeley alumni did. So that was a passion then, but I didn't really pursue it when I came back home because I got so wrapped up in the touring thing. But toward the end of my touring stint, I kind of revisited that passion for it, and I would collaborate with different independent filmmakers around the city. Like I would go on Facebook and look at different filmmaking pages, like Atlanta Filmmakers Club or whatever, and I would be like, hey, my name's Isaiah Hill. I'm a film composer. I'd love to work with you on your next short film, student project, whatever. Low budget, no budget, whatever. I just want to score some films. Yeah. Got a couple of replies. So I did a lot of that. I probably did like maybe 5 or 6 like independent short films. Okay. Which was dope, and that kind of, I developed my craft from doing that. But as far as the TV stuff, so I did a Tesla. So I rescored a Tesla commercial. Looked on YouTube, typed in Tesla Model S, which is the Tesla I want. I love that car. Gotcha. So they had a commercial from back in the day. Extracted the audio and just rescored it from there. Yeah. Maybe like a minute and a half commercial. Okay. Posted it on Instagram. Did really well. Got a bunch of love from it. But then someone I had met a couple months prior to me posting that, her name is Simone. Shout out to Simone. She really is pivotal in this story. She went to Berkeley. She's a Berkeley alum. Okay. But I didn't meet her I didn't know her at Berkeley. I knew of her. Yeah. We knew of each other, but we met at an event here in Atlanta at Patchwork. I forget what kind of event it was, but we met there. And we exchanged contact information. We stayed in touch. Okay. And when she saw the video, she DM'd me the day after. She was like, "Hey, I love this. Are you interested in doing music for TV?" I was like, "Is that even a question?" Like, absolutely. Yeah. Because at the time, she worked for this music library. And for those who don't know, music libraries are the middleman between you as a composer and, getting your music on TV. So I submit my music to a library. They pitch it to all the different networks. So she signed me as a composer to the library. And, man, from that library, I got some dope placements. I got Temptation Island placements, this cooking show, Rat in the Kitchen, like a bunch of random like baking shows, you know what I mean? Like those competitive shows. So that kind of sparked my interest for TV. But I had to kind of reprogram my brain because the TV world is a very different world than scoring to picture, and it's super different from just producing music for artists. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because with TV, you have a very short amount of time to make a good impression. So all of my tracks now, like with TV, your track's going to be like a minute and a half to 2 max. Sometimes even shorter if they ask you for a shorter version of the track, but typically a minute and a half to 2 minutes, that's it. And it's a very specific structure, and I had to learn it the hard way. Because my first couple of tracks I sent to Simone, she was like, "Yeah, these are good, but they just don't work for TV." And that crushed me. Wow, really? Man, because I was so invested in those tracks. I was like,
"You're like, this is it. Stuff. This is it."
I'm about to. She about to send this. I'm gonna get a Kardashian placement right now. And then she was like, "Yeah, doesn't work. Let's just scratch it." Good songs, but like, it didn't fit for TV. Right. That's the thing too. Like, you can have the best song in the world, but if it's not in the format and
if it's not in the right context,
if it doesn't build in a certain way, it's not going to work for TV. So grateful that I had her to kind of coach me. She would give me really good notes after every track I sent. So that kind of let me know, okay, here's the format, here's the vibe that they like, here's the tempos that they like in TV. And from then I went on. I still work with that company actually, and now I work with 2 other libraries that are getting me some placements, and I love it, man. So how I approach it, how it's different than scoring for like short films and stuff like you asked, is like I don't score to picture at all. So I don't see anything when I make the music. They literally send me briefs. They're like, "Hey Isaiah, we're working on these few TV shows. We need some upbeat instrumental hip hop stuff. Here's some references." They send me like a whole Spotify playlist of songs that it should feel like, and they're like, "Make 10 of them, go," and that's it. And then from there, I pitch it, or I send it to them. They pitch it, and the editors kind of just splice it up however they need to.
Gotcha.
But I also do like different versions and mix outs of it. So I'll do like the full track, but then I'll send like a bass and drums version, or like a version with no drums, version with no, like about 8 to 10 different versions of that one song.
Just so they don't have to come back and ask you. Because I was thinking, I was like, you probably. I thought about that because, like, you know, since they asked for so many edits, let me give you 10 versions of it ahead of time before y'all.
Cause I know you're finna ask me for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart. Stay tuned for part 2 of this episode of the Major Keyz podcast with my guest, Isaiah Hill.